At the end of my making of my black wool skirt video, I think, I mentioned that I wanted to remake my gray wool skirt that you've seen in several other videos. And I wanted to do that because it was only the second kind of real thing that I'd made, and I'd made some mistakes, such as like this puckered seam right here. Also, there were, the wool kind of sagged. I think I didn't do a very good job of basting it on, and there'll be some imagery of that later. So I wanted a chance to remake this skirt. It was quite painful for me to rip it apart because I spent a lot of time on it the first time, and I spent a lot of time on repairing it this time, but it is much better now. Although I did manage to make the waistband slightly too small, so it is a little bit difficult to squeeze into it, but I can look beyond that. So, I hope you enjoyed this video. I've done a little bit of a different format. I just recorded footage and then I'm going to do a voiceover. Usually I just talk to the camera. But I decided to try something different this time. Let me know how you like it. I am kind of irritated with myself because it's going to be significantly more work. But I hope that it works well, and I hope you enjoy. Bye-bye. So here's the footage that I mentioned earlier. You can see that there's just a lot of wrinkling and puckering of the wool, and it's really, really unattractive. And that was happening all around the hem. It also kind of resulted in some staining. You can see there that it's stained or discolored a little bit. So it just looks very sloppy. The first thing that I did was to iron the black cotton that I'd chosen to be the new lining, because initially the skirt hadn't really had a proper lining fabric, so that was the biggest thing that I wanted to change. I used the wool as a template or a pattern to cut out the new lining out of the black cotton. So I was left with three pieces. The new lining, what used to be the old lining but is now the interlining, so it's canvas on the bottom, cotton on the top, and I also starched the living daylights out of this. And then there's also the gray wool, which is still the fashion fabric. And I flipped the gray wool over, so the part that used to be outside facing the world is now inside facing the interlining, and the part that was inside is now facing outside because it's just prettier and less roughed up. I then proceeded to baste all three layers together. This process is very tedious and very, very painful on the knees. Many of you advised me last time that I should get a cushion or knee pads or something, and that is very, very good advice, and I have still not done it, so yes, I know, very clever of me. Thank you for saying so, you didn't have to. I then repeated this same process for each and every one of the skirt panels. I apologize for the terrible quality of this clip. It was shot at night in the dark and I had to turn the contrast way up, but as you can see, I've made a mistake and somehow this has become way too short. It's about 9-10 inches off the ground, and that was much shorter than I wanted it to be. And I really did not know what to do here. I was very, very concerned, and I decided that I would just have to sleep on it. Oh, here I've got a ruler, and I'm going to show that it is, yeah, 9 inches off the ground. So that's too short. An adult woman's skirt would not have been more than maybe 4 inches off the ground. Fortunately, I realized that I didn't need to extend the bottom. I could just put a little piece on the top, and that would bring it down to the desired length. So that solved the problem very, very neatly. So you can see I just made a little piece and basted it together and stitched it on. Next, I stitched the pieces together. I pressed the seams open and I felled down the raw edges to the lining. I'm having this skirt close in the manner that is recommended in the pattern, with one big box pleat in the middle and then the closure off to the side. So the closure is hidden to the right of the box pleat, in between the box pleat and the smaller pleat next to it. I finished off little things like the inside of the placket and the waistband, which I apparently didn't get any footage of. Sorry about that. And then I stitched the hem braiding on again, and I took care to flip it so that the side that used to be facing outwards was now facing inwards, and the side that used to be facing inwards is now facing outwards, so that the outside would look as fresh as possible. Then all that remained was to remove the basting threads, and the skirt was done and ready to wear. And now enjoy some footage of me walking around a historical house on Sovey Island. It used to be a museum at one point in time, but for as long as I can remember, it's just been completely empty and locked up. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed. I'm not entirely sure what my next project is going to be. I have it down to one of two options, or I've narrowed it down to two options. Either this one or this one. Oh, that's an uncomfortable position to have your hand. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put these on Patreon, and I'm gonna let my patrons vote and decide which one of these I'm gonna do next. Now, I want to do both of them eventually, but the patrons get to decide which one happens first. So if you want to have a say in that, head on over to Patreon. If you don't want to, or if you can't, please don't feel bad. I don't want you to donate if you can't. But other than that, I'll see you soon, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.